Chapter 20. For the next few hours, Flora listened to the sounds of the sheriff killing rats. During the silences, she imagined Sophia licking her paw for a moment before going after her next victim. Good for you, Flora whispered. She tried to get comfortable and let her mind wander to her real job, the one the captain would give her once they got to their destination. She laid her head down, and a snowy scene filled her mind. There were no trees, no grass, no stones. There were no creatures, only whiteness. Then over the snow came a sled team with a pig at the lead. A blizzard roared down out of nowhere until the dogs couldn't see 10 feet in front of them. Their leader didn't need to see. She knew the way by heart. She was unstoppable. Don't you give up on me, she shouted to the dogs behind her. She knew they were exhausted. Remember this. A sled team is tough. A sled team is strong. We don't give up, and we're a little bit crazy. Flora gave a hop and a wiggle to show her boys how unafraid she was, and then she pulled with all her might. The sled surged forward. Flora slept and dreamed until a new sound woke her up. It was a cross between a moan and a meow. Sophia? The queen cat mewed near Flora's ear. I can't do it. She looked terrible. One of her ears was bloody, a patch of fur was missing from her shoulder. I'm a failure, she moaned. Nothing but a hairball. Worthless. What happened? Flora sat up. How many rats did you kill? 0. Sophia wailed. They ganged up on me. Flora couldn't help feeling a tiny quiver of satisfaction. Oh, I wish I could help. I shouldn't need help. Sophia threw herself down on the boards. Cats are supposed to be independent. Flora tried not to look happy. You need a team. Sophia looked her paw mournfully and then looked up. I do not. I'm a loner. Flora shook her head to make the chain rattle. Maybe you could take a crack at this rope around my neck after all. Sophia studied it doubtfully. Then she began to gnaw at the rope. After a few minutes, she gave a very uncat-like squeak. Did you get it? Asked Flora. No, Sophia moaned. I think I broke a tooth. Just then, something heavy thudded at the top of the stairs, and the door opened with a bang. Now I'm going to teach you a lesson for good. Amos came into view. In one hand he held Flora's slops, and he had a stick under his arm. With his other hand he dragged a lump and thumped down each step. At the bottom, Amos dropped the lump in a heap. You got a new job. He gave the heap a kick. I caught you stealing food like a rat. Now you catch rats or you don't eat. Here. Amos threw down the stick. Bang their heads with this. Lantern and matches are on the stairs. I wouldn't have to steal if you fed me enough. The heap lifted its head. Alaric! Amos put the bowl of pig food down and turned back to the boy. You and that lazy cat had better kill rats every day, or you don't eat at all anymore. Amos grabbed the bowl when Flora was finished. Only the pig eats for free. He stomped to the top of the stairs and slammed the door. Flora flinched. She knew she needed her strength. Still, she hadn't felt good about digging into a bowl full of food while Sophia and Alaric stood by hungry. Alaric picked up the stick and pounded on the stairs. I won't be treated like a prisoner. No answer came from the top. He's in worse shape than I am, whispered Sophia. If cats were compassionate sorts, I would feel sorry for him. The boy sat on the stairs and put his head on his knees. Flora and Sophia waited and watched. When they got tired of waiting, they curled up together and fell asleep. Flora woke in the night from Sophia tapping on her nose. Flora sat up. What's wrong? Shh! Watch this. Sophia was looking toward a flicker of light moving around in the shadows. He's hunting. Sometimes the light would race one way or another, and sometimes the boy's stick could be heard banging against the floor or the walls of the ship. He doesn't know what he's doing, whispered Sophia. He can't hunt rats with a lantern. They'll run and hide. It was true. Flora could hear rats at the opposite end of the hold scuffling around in the dark, but the boy didn't seem to hear a thing. The next morning, Amos tromped down with a bowl of food and a scowl on his face. He glared at Alaric, who lifted his head from the bottom of the stairs, where he had spent the night. He kicked at Sophia, who scuttled out of reach of his big boots, but he didn't say a word. Flora could smell the delicious mixture even before the bowl was set down in front of her. The leftovers were still warm. She was hungry as usual, but she wouldn't eat while her companions had nothing, so she stayed where she was and watched Amos's face. "Pig, eat!" he shouted. The food smells made Flora's stomach growl and quiver. "Now everything's wrong on this boat," Amos hollered. "Rats and thieves eat the food upstairs. The pig doesn't eat the food downstairs. I'll never be a cook on a boat again." As he grabbed the bowl away, a great splash of gravy and food slopped on the floor. Amos paid no attention. Marching up the stairs, he glared at Alaric again. "You killed 20 rats. I give you another chance." As soon as the door closed, Flora followed her nose to the spot where the food had spilled. Sophia was already sniffing the edges. When Flora had heard clicking, she whispered, "Sophia, stand clear. It sounds like the rats are ready to try again." Sophia slinked out of sight. A crowd of whiskers and beady eyes appeared in the dim light. Noses twitched as the rats drew closer to the delicious smell. Flora eased herself into position, ready to bring the hammer down on a rat head. Unfortunately, these were the smart ones. They warily stayed at the edges of the shadows. After a while, Flora slumped down and pretended to sleep. She made little snoring noises and watched out of the slits of her eyes. A trio of rats came out of the shadows and began licking the gravy. Flora trembled with excitement, but she waited. 2 more rats joined. Flora jumped to her feet and spun around. Pow! She let loose and felt her hooves connect with a pair of heads. Slam! She lashed out again. Sophia flashed from one twitching body to another. Then Flora and Sophia stood back and looked at their handiwork. 3 more. Wow! Flora turned to Alaric. He had lit the lantern again. Now he stood gazing at them with the rats. "You guys are amazing! What a team!" He reached out and scratched between Flora's ears. It felt heavenly. Sophia didn't even bother to say anything about cats and teams. Instead, she rubbed Alaric's leg. 3 rats. Alaric stood up. "It's a good start." He reached down again, and Flora thought he was going to give her head another scratch, but instead she felt his fingers working the rope around her neck and felt the weight of the chain disappear. "Come on, team." Alaric lifted his lantern to show the way. "Let's get to work." I wonder if they're going to get the 20 rats.